Imagine this scenario. It's a rainy day. You have read until your heart's content, nearly dozing off, and you've tried every indoor activity that comes to mind. In a moment of what now inspiration, you decide to tackle the junk drawer. Yes, we all have them. It's that one drawer that never seems to have a real purpose, and yet you find it impossible to resist sorting through its mysterious contents. Countless paper clips, even though you can never find them when you need them. Random keys that go to who knows what, but you decide to keep them just in case. The Uno cards, so that's where they are, you say to yourself. Take a mental note. But the real surprise comes when you unearth an old magnifying glass. Its familiar form bringing a wave of nostalgia. Oh my gosh, I remember this guy. It's like reuniting with an old friend. Just like a kid with a new toy, you can't help but to be drawn to its magic abilities. I mean, magnifying glasses are pretty incredible if you think about them. At first, you're really into looking at just small things really closely. Right? You see the tiny lines of a leaf and how a cloth is woven, and even a little grain of sand. I mean, it's just fascinating. It's really interesting to see these small details and things that you see every day, right? I mean, things you didn't even know existed or were just too small to even recognize. As you move the magnifying glass around, your view changes. At first, you're amazed by the small details, right? The lines of the leaf and the cloth and the tiny grains of the sand. But as you look from a distance, you see these details as parts of bigger things. And the leaf is just one piece of a tree, and the cloth is part of a larger object. But it's like stepping back and seeing how all of these small things fit together to form the bigger world around us. But we do this a lot in our own lives, don't we? Holding the magnifying glass, scrutinizing every detail, looking for every tiny part that we can find, even if it's not there. It's easy to do, right? Be it social media or even with the neighbor next door, there's this relentless comparison. It's like we're constantly under this lens, examining our flaws, our imperfections, and all the ways that we don't quite measure up to others. But what happens when we pull back? What happens when you pull back with a magnifying glass? What happens? And what do we see? What if we stopped looking so closely? What if we step back and look at the bigger picture of who we are? What if we started to see more than just our flaws, but noticing the good things about ourselves, our strengths, and how we're unique, and those tiny things that you're like, oh my gosh, I kind of overlooked that. But I'm going to share a secret with you. Are you ready? You are more than the small things that you don't like about yourself. I'm going to let that sit in just for a second, and I'm going to say it again because it's important. You are more than the small things you don't like about yourself. And it's true. Here, let me show you how to see yourself not through a magnifying lens, but by seeing yourself through a wide-angle lens, looking at the bigger picture of who you are, and not just the small flaws or the traits we so often magnify. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Think of your life like a puzzle where every part is a piece of the puzzle, right? The happy moments, the tough times, and everything else, they are all in this box. And every piece is just as important as the other, just like in a real puzzle. Now imagine you have a puzzle box with a picture on it, right? We all want the picture so we can kind of have a reference. But if you only look at a tiny part of that picture with a magnifying glass, it's pretty hard to know where that piece goes in the puzzle. It doesn't really have a reference point. And when you look too close at something, it might just look like a bunch of colors and shapes that don't really make sense. But when you step back and you see the whole picture, you go, oh, yeah, okay, now I get it. That's where that piece is going to go. Well, think of your life like this. When you look at everything together, all the different parts of your life, it's like seeing the whole puzzle finished. And that's when you understand how everything fits together to make your life what it is, to make it the picture that's on the box that is meant to be. And all of this can be easier said than done, right? I mean, we say this stuff all the time, and this isn't anything that you don't already know, but a lot of times we need reminders of this. So with that being said, I'm not going to leave you without sharing some tips on how to see beyond the details. So as always, take the time to write this down. Come back to it at night before shutting down, or maybe reading over it first thing in the morning before you start your day. And for those overachievers, yes, you can do both. First things first, walk it out. Take a walk in Mother Nature, and not just any walk, okay? This isn't just like a go out and just randomly walk. Take a walk outside, like in a park or in a forest. And while walking, I want you to look at the things in nature around you. The trees, the paths, the birds, the clouds even. But stop and notice and think about how these things in nature can be parts of your life. For example, a strong tree that stays standing in a storm can be like how strong you are when things get tough. That tree is resilient. It's been there for years. It doesn't move, right? Or maybe there's a path that goes in different directions, and this can be like different choices that you've made in life. One day, perhaps you go left, and maybe tomorrow or the next day, you take a right just to explore. Or when you see a stream or a river on your walk, watch how the water moves around the rocks and other things that are in its way. This can really be like how you handle tough times in your life. And just like the water keeps flowing and going around the obstacles, you also keep going and find ways to get past your own challenges. And this flowing water shows that life always keeps moving, because it does. And so can you. And it's about learning to change direction and find new ways to go forward, even when obstacles come up, things get hard, right? Think about this. If you just look at a rock in a stream, it seems like a really big problem, right? But what if you look at the whole stream? The rock is just one small part of it. And that's what the Nature's Walk is all about. It's teaching us to see our lives in a bigger way. When we look at nature, we learn that everything in our lives, just like every part of nature, it fits together. The strong tree, the winding path, even the rock and the stream, they all tell a bit about the overall story of life. And this walk helps us see our life as a big, connected puzzle. It's not just a bunch of separate pieces scattered about, right? It's about learning to see the whole picture of who we are, reflected in a simple, beautiful walk through nature. So take a walk. Make it leisure. Make it slow. Be intentional. Recognize that, those leaves on the ground, well, they came from the tree, right? Otherwise, there would not be leaves on the ground. And without the tree, we wouldn't have the beautiful leaves that we see in autumn, right? There are so many parts to connect life with nature on this walk. Now, just before I go to step number 2, I want to share something with you. You know how everyone's journey is like super unique? right? And that got me really thinking about healthcare. Listen to this, guys. I promise you it's going to be worth it. Why should healthcare be one size fits all? You know how sometimes you feel like just another number when you go visit a doctor? They're busy and you're rushed and you're receiving generic information, no offense. And as someone that has had a litany of health issues in the past with ulcerative colitis, thank God no more, this really made me look for something more personalized, something that really understands and caters to my individual needs. And that's why I'm super excited to introduce to you today's sponsor, Wild Health. It's incredible, and I mean this. Created by two emergency room physicians, Wild Health takes a very unique approach. They focus on precision medicine, which is all about being proactive and preventative. Imagine having healthcare that's tailored to your genetics, your biometrics, and your lifestyle. They help you figure out exactly what your body's needs are, whether it's the right kind of nutrition or exercise or even sleep, one of my favorite things. And here's a fascinating fact. Did you know that 67% of Wild Health patients with high LDLP, which is a key measure of cardiovascular disease risk, they have seen significant improvement? 67%. That's the kind of insight and care that you get with Wild Health. It's not just about dealing with health issues. It's about optimizing your health to live longer and better. Because Wild Health is about discovering these little things that make a big difference in your personal health journey. Their care team includes board-certified precision medicine physicians and health coaches available right at your fingertips through the app. And the best part, it's all virtual, available anywhere in the United States. So if you're as curious as I am about taking control of your health in a more personalized way, here's something really special. Wild Health is offering Calm It Down listeners a 20% discount on membership. Just go to wildhealth.com/calm, CALM, and use the code CALM, CALM at checkout. Start your journey with Wild Health today and see the difference personalized care makes. Do it. Now, let's shift gears and go to our second step in seeing life from a broader perspective. And this is what I call the unsent letter archive. I hope you're writing this down. So again, this is the unsent letter archive. This is a deep, personal, and reflective exercise that offers a really unique way to process your emotions and your thoughts and even your experiences. So the idea is to create a collection of letters that you write, but you never intend to send. You can address them to people, or maybe to a place, or even just a specific time in your life, be it the past or present, or maybe what you would hope to be the future. And these letters, they can express anything, be it gratitude, be it forgiveness, be it love, be it maybe closure. But the key is that they are for your eyes only. These could be to a friend from school, or a city that you loved, or just a tough year that you've had. And write about anything. Maybe saying thanks, or maybe saying sorry, or maybe even saying goodbye. But the main thing is that these letters are just for you, and you're not going to send them. But since they're not meant to be sent, you have the freedom to be honest. And whether it's expressing gratitude to someone who helped you, or forgiveness to someone that hurt you, or love for someone special, or just finding that closure or that unresolved issue, I want you to write with an open heart, which is sometimes a practice in itself. And they can range just a huge swath of emotions, right? One might be filled with joy, and the other one might be a way to release pent-up frustrations or some sorrows. But the purpose is to express these emotions fully and freely. Do you remember how we talked about looking at our lives in a bigger way, like stepping back from a magnifying glass? Well, this unsent letter is part of this. When you write these letters, you're taking a step back and you're looking at the big picture of your life. You're not just focusing on one small thing or just one moment of your life. Because each letter, it lets you see how different parts of your life actually fit together. You might write about something sad in one letter and then something incredibly happy in another letter. And just like these pieces of a puzzle, these letters, they show all sides of life. They help you understand your journey better and seeing how the good and the bad all add up to make you who you are. So this letter writing is just another way to see your life from a distance, to understand it better, and to feel good about your whole story. The Unsent Letter Archive. Try it. Try just one. Just one. Find someone in mind, or maybe a place in mind, or a moment in mind, and just write a really simple 1-paragraph letter. Because I have a feeling the more you do this, 1 paragraph turns to 2, and then 3, and then 1 letter turns to 2, and then 3. It's actually freeing to be able to sit and to write with honesty about moments in your life. The Unsent Letter Archive. And then third and final, the Life Map Exploration. This is a really fun way to draw a picture of your whole life story. Right? It's like make it a map that shows all the important parts of your life, from when you were little to now, and even thinking about what may be ahead. And I've shared this before, but I really like this a lot, and I wanted to share it again with this episode. Here's how it works, okay? Start with your very first memories, okay? Begin your map with the earliest things that you remember, like where you lived in your first day at school. And then add important events along the way. You can draw it or you can write it. I'm not really that great of an artist. My dad was, but write it out. Write about the big moments in your life. And this could be things like moving to a new place, or graduating, or just meeting someone special, right? And then begin to make lines or paths to show you how you moved from one part of your life to another. Straight lines could be for simple times, right? Or twisty lines for when life got complicated, right? But what I love about this is you begin to discover more about yourself. As you make this map, you might remember things you forgot, or you actually begin to see patterns in your life that show up in different places, like how you always make friends easily, or how you handled, or maybe the way you handled really big changes. But this helps you see all parts of your life together on one page. And you can look at your map and you can see how far you've come and all the different things that have happened during this time. Because this gives you a chance to think about your life from a wide lens and to understand it better. Because a lot of times we just are so honed into the moment that we are in that we really completely dismiss all the moments that got us to where we are right now. Sometimes we forget about the details, but this life map is a really unique way to look at your whole life. It shows all the ups and downs. It shows the journey that you're on. And it just can be really fun to make and look at. And also just go back and just continue to add to the map down the road. Life Map Exploration. So in closing, I want to circle back to the magnifying glass that we started with. Remember how it made small things look really big and just really detailed? Well, here we've learned to step back and see the bigger picture of our lives, and not just the small stuff. It's like using a wide-angle lens, and we've explored 3 really interesting ways to view our lives more fully. So the first, again, was the nature's walk, right? We took a walk outside and looked at nature, and we saw how things like trees and rivers can be like parts of our own lives. And then the second was the Unsent Letter Archive. We wrote special letters to people or times in our lives, but we're not going to send them. This helped us share our deepest feelings just for ourselves. And then finally, the Life Map Exploration. We made a map of our whole life, marking the big moments and changes. And this showed us how these events helped make us who we are today. Because each step we talked about today, it helps us take a step back and really appreciate everything that we've been through. And they remind us that we're not just made up of hard times or the moments where we doubt ourselves, or the faults, or the failures, or the mistakes, the ones that we often pull the magnifying glass into whenever we go through those moments. But we're a mix. We're a mix of all of our experiences, all of our feelings and dreams, and each part is as important as the other. And so when you stop using the magnifying glass and start looking at your life with a wide view, I want you to think about this. What new things did you learn about your life? What new things did you learn about your life? And then to go further, ask, how do these new ways of looking at things change how you see yourself and what's coming next for you? How do these new ways of looking at things change how you see yourself and what's coming next? I want you to remember, your life is a big, beautiful piece of art with every bit, every color, every twist and turn, making it incredibly yours, incredibly special, yet incredibly beautiful. And every piece of this puzzle, it fits into the final picture. And that's why every piece of a puzzle comes in that box to begin with. Some of them are corners, some of them are just one color and really an odd shape. But that piece, well, it came in the box because it belongs. And without that piece, the picture wouldn't be complete. Did you hear that? Without the piece that came in the box, the picture would not be complete. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And as always, until next time, be kind to your mind. And I hope you'll join me again as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you. And you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.